Well, SOEs have received massive bailouts again. Here's the numbers. Eskom, we heard, leading the pack, if you will, over 250 billion rand in debt relief, also tax relief and rebates for households and businesses. So there's some good news there. Little pie, I'm afraid, though, has been left for the poorest of the poor. There's no increase for the 350 rand social relief of distress grant. Social grants also getting below inflation increases. Well, let's get reaction. And eNCA senior reporter Aviwe Mtila getting reaction from one of the more vocal unions. And I have no doubts, Aviwe, they're not very happy, are they? Good morning.
Not around the wage increases or, well, those discussions, said Finance Minister, that they'll engage the unions before they actually pin down those wage increases. We do know now it's been stipulated around 3.3%, but that is yet to be seen. Of course, there is that news also around Eskom, 254 million rand, we do understand, going to the power utility. But talking around the power utility, that is also that agreement between the board and the outgoing CEO for him, R350 SRD, to leave with immediate effect. That's, of course, following that explosive interview with my colleague eNCA Larson, which delved into the rot between ANC and Eskom itself, with those allegations saying that the ANC is actually one of those that are doing largely the looting there, with even some of those ministers saying that some of those comrades have to eat a little. In fact, I want to bring in now Mavabe just to touch on some of these developments. Thank you for joining us at eNCA, but let me start over there, Mdomkulu. R350 SRD has left with immediate effect following that explosive interview, of course. What do you make of what's going on there?
Well, it looks very suspicious. It's either that R350 is a horrible liar and that the board is aware that he have used the platform of a group CEO to spread lies about the board and Eskom, and therefore they feel obliged to show him the door, or the board itself have something to hide, and that the exposure that was revealed to South Africa yesterday, it's such that they cannot contain their anger against R350. Which of the two, we are not in a better position to know that. And from the SAFTU perspective, what we thought we must do is to go and lay charges against R350 himself using Section 34 of PRECA, or the Prevention of Corruption Act, to say that that section enjoins any South African who is aware of acts of corruption to immediately report that to the authorities. We're going to have to use that against him so that he is forced to reveal to South Africa as to who are the ministers he was in conversation with. That one of them would have said, look, you don't have to go very hard on these regulations to tighten the control over this 8.3 US dollars. This is just 8.3 billion US dollars. And if the minister would have said, go soft, we must eat a little, allow people to eat a little. Wow, that will explain why, in part, we are in darkness as we speak in South Africa, and that's why we will find a reason to say perhaps the reason why I think we are somewhere above stage 6 now. If you look at the rate of load shedding, surely this is not stage 6 that we're talking about. So this is a big issue for SAFTU, and I think it should be a big issue for any South African. By tomorrow, we will be in a police station to lay those charges.
Charges against R350 SRD to reveal who those ministers that said that we must allow these comrades to eat a little are. Now let's move on to the budget itself. Finance Minister suggesting that they'll have those discussions with unions. What will you be saying to the Finance Minister?
Unfortunately, the minister was pulling a fast one on us. We know already that the government has 2 years ago announced its medium-term budget policy framework statement in relation to the wages and salaries of workers. Government is chasing a target of reducing that bill by 303 billion rands, and the impact of that has been felt already by workers. Government pulled out of an agreement that it signed with unions in 2018 when it was supposed to implement its last leg, it just refused. So workers would have received no salary increase. Last year, government unilaterally implemented a 3% wage offer, and we have no reason to believe that this year is going to be any different. The framework is the same. It's a framework that is coming from the IMF, World Bank, and the rating agencies' playbook that says that there shall be fiscal consolidation. And the government interpretation of fiscal consolidation is that the debt to a GDP ratio must be kept under check, and is currently at 73%, and they are extremely worried about that. And this is where neoliberalism and austerity program, because using that framework alone and without targeting the big corporations with wealth and solidarity tax, government finds itself with no option but to reduce expenditure, as it is cutting the wages and conditions of public servants, as it is not filling the vacancies, as it is not investing in the infrastructure in our schools, police stations, and in public hospitals, and that's the only way out for them. So in the budget that was presented today, when you had taken off the whole rhetoric about these billions and these billions, look at the real increases, take into consideration the impact of inflation and the population rate on each and every billion that the minister was announcing that the social expenditure will be increasing by, you will actually establish that in every account we're going to be seeing reductions, not increases. We're going to be seeing reductions in all of the critical frontline service delivery areas that the government should be championing.
All right, thank you very much. General Secretary of SAFTU there as well, Aviwe, saying that expecting to see those reductions, but also saying that the outgoing, the now gone CEO of Eskom, Andre de Ruyter, must detail who these senior government ministers that says that the rot in Eskom is known and must be allowed.
All right, Aviwe Mtila, thank you very much. Indeed, we'll continue to bring you reaction to not just the budget speech, of course, but to, as Aviwe says, the now former CEO, Andre de Ruyter of Eskom. Plenty of reaction that people are looking for this morning. We'll bring that to you throughout the day here on eNCA. It's